More and more victims speaking up and sharing their stories of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, even sexual assault these days. And it may even be happening in your own family. And as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday, these conversations may be happening over the dinner table. Mary Ellen Stone is the executive director of the King County Sexual Assault Resource Center. And we wanted to have you here this morning because this is a really important conversation. And we really think we need to have it right now. Let's start with, do victims need to know, what do they need to know as these conversations may come up over the dinner table?
Well, we think it's good for victims to have a plan going into any sort of a gathering. I mean, Thanksgiving is sort of like the big pivotal moment, but we always hear from people about, I've got a big family celebration coming up, and do I talk about what happened? What about the fact that the offender may be there, or people who know him may be there? So what we encourage people to do is, when you're going into a situation like this, have a plan, and have a plan for somebody who you know knows your story and is going to be able to be supportive of you.
Probably have a plan even if you plan to maybe not say something.
I think that's really important, because what we want to remind people of is it's your story. It's nobody else's. The sexual assault, sexual abuse, the power and control is taken away from the victim. So this is a place where victims can regain some of that power and control by deciding who I want to tell, when I want to tell, and how much detail or not do I want to share with people.
What do we think about, this may be something that family members don't know. For example, you don't know that you have a victim in your family, but the topic comes up. Right. And all family members going into Thanksgiving holidays knowing this may come up. Sure. What do people need to keep in their minds if this topic does come up?
Well, I think everybody needs to keep in mind that they know somebody who's been sexually assaulted. They may not know that about that person, but just the numbers are such that we can guarantee that everybody knows someone who's been victimized. And what we are encouraging everybody to do is to keep that in mind and think about how your statements may discourage somebody from speaking out, even if they're, even if you're not talking specifically to somebody. But when victims hear, why didn't she report? She should have said something a long time ago. That couldn't have been the way it was. All of those things build up into a culture which says, we don't want to hear about your story unless it fits this particular mold, and most people don't do that. So we encourage everybody to say, keep in mind you know somebody who's been victimized. As you're making these kinds of comments, they may be landing pretty badly on somebody who's had that experience, and you may never know. So just try to be more sensitive and less victim blaming about that.
What if the abuser is at the table with us?
Which is even more complicated. And that's where a lot of times we will hear from victims saying, my family is really important. It can be a joyous time. If that person's going to be there, I may choose not to participate, which is a whole nother painful experience for people. But we encourage people, to the extent possible, make those choices for themselves and figure out what's going to be supportive for them.
I think this is a really important topic, and to me it seems like this is something everybody needs to sort of pre-think about.
I think it's best, because what we know too is even the most supportive of people may need a little bit of time. If they find out that a loved one's been sexually assaulted, they may need some time to sort through their own feelings, and their immediate response may not show the kind of support that a victim is hoping to get. So we encourage people to not to think through, do you really want to make a big announcement in a place where you're not sure how people are going to react? Doesn't give you any space to be able to process or step away from that.
Mary Ellen Stone, thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely.
And kind of starting this conversation with us. We really appreciate it very much. Mary Ellen Stone, the executive director of the King County Sexual Assault Resource Center. Of course, your center can help lots of folks if they have more questions.
And we have a 24-hour resource line. We encourage people to give us a call just to talk through what to do.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.